But Astralis will be kicking things off on the T side, and it's not even, I think Dust2 is like one of those maps where you're really that bothered on which side you start. I mean, the T can get so much success.
Yeah. Really just comes down to spawn-based plays and just mid-round decision-making. It's not as if anyone's reinventing their wheel on Dust2. No one has in probably, well, years at this point. I mean, there's a couple of different options you have on the T side for maybe some CT drop-down play or crafty utility, but it's pretty basic as far as overall approach, as we see the CT's looking to get aggressive at middle, but it's been picked up upon by Device and Glaive. They're taking care of it just fine.
Taking care of business, taking out the push. But Golden at least is going to return the favor with 2 kills and could be going in for a third. They had a very slow start over on Train, but already showing that he's no slouch. Putting more damage down onto Glaive. Mages finally will put him out of his misery and get the avenging frag. But the bomb's been spilled out. Information gathered, and now fnatic know they can push up 2 more plays up middle. Another 1-for-1 trade. And it's all about Brolan for me, because Crims is going to be going down to the hands of Dupree, and Brolan is trying to make moves up CT. Now keep an eye on the HP bars of Astralis. They are both low. Brolan could still clutch this.
Indeed, he could, and he might even be able to find a kit as well. It's sitting out in middle, so that will give him some options if they get a plant to have a bit more time to try to work things out. As you said, health is very low right now, Astralis. They played that really smart, though. Like, even though they lost out a lot of battles that they probably should have won there, they were able to kind of work it out. But the problem is they have no smoke to cross, and Brolan is right here to deal with them. He's sending out pot shots, but they work together so well. And again, Astralis, how they played recovery. I mean, fnatic did well to get aggressive. Gold did well to get those 2 kills and get an advantage. But the way that Glaive knew that he couldn't afford to swing out anymore, he stalled, he jiggle peeked, he allowed his teammates to wide swing Golden, get him off the board, get the bomb back, and then get themselves into a 2-on-1 that they can manage. That's just, again, discipline and not panicking under stress. You know, just kind of knowing, hey, things didn't go the way we wanted, but we can still win this in. Let's just focus up, and they were able to do just that.
Flashes and mollies being exchanged over on long, and a smoke on top of it that JW can try and hide inside. He may not realize that Magus has already crossed to the blue box. And now he will find that out alongside Zipex. Astralis systematic control over long, but that's only half the battle, only half the struggle. They still need to bridge the gap over onto the A side. And whereas there's aggression last time through middle, this time it may be a little bit slower, because fnatic is starting to push 3 players up through middle and additionally catwalk.
Yeah, they're trying to roll the dice here, and you have to in a round like this when you had limited firepower. You have to try to see if you can get some information, get some space. It is pretty big that Crims is able to control B tunnels. That means the rest can focus on A site, knowing that at worst they can get exposed middle. And Glaive even gets caught out a little bit there. Takes a little bit of damage, but is able to get away. Allows Crims to funnel back to lower tunnels, and now he can control middle. So now they're basically funneled to A, and this is the best case scenario for fnatic, but they're still well behind the round. Don't get me wrong, but at least they have people in place to defend A as best as they could hope for.
They've at least put it back into a possibility, albeit fleeting at best. 40 seconds, and he's just now moving up. 2 players watching, and it's Brolan with the M4 that pivots in first for the kill. And now Zipex will be picking up the slack with the Mac-10. They still got a bit of time to burn, but they have to be careful because the bodies are hitting the floor so quickly through Astralis, and the Danes have been decimated. fnatic hold the line and keep 4 players alive.
Yeah, and that's just them being so thrifty, like understanding that playing standard is not going to get the job done in a round like that. And so Crims being that aggressor inside B tunnels, realizing that there was no presence on that side of the map, then being able to transition and cover middle for his team, allowing them to keep that 3 stack on A, to, you know, not worry about getting exposed from catwalk. They could put their full focus on the long A cross. They had that 1M4 in play, and they made great use of it. I have to tip my hat to fnatic. That was so well done as far as game planning goes. To give themselves a chance to win, they were able to pull it out.
Back in with a buy as well on Astralis. They're not going to let this one lie. They want to try and bounce back with a bit of revenge as soon as they possibly can.
Yep. Deagle's aplenty. Base utility. Scout in the hands of Device, who has been no joke with the scope. He has been absolutely lighting up the kill feed time and time again so far this series when he's had that ranged weapon. Yet to find a kill here on Dust2, but obviously still early days, and he can be forgiven. He's spent a lot of juice on Train with those 40. So we are going to see Astralis now gathering up to try to spill out on A. There is a solid defense in place, however, and there is no Molotov to flush out that Goose position, so going to be a tough ask for them to try to penetrate this A site vents, but they'll try to thrust it anyway.
They are making moves inwards, but 2 mollies. Still at disposal of the Swedes, and expect them to be tossed in towards the A side of the map. Crims on Goose, and there is the banked off Molly. That is just going to stall and stymie the push a little bit longer. Flashbang up and over, and if they do focus too heavily on JW, that's where Crims can free himself up. The flashes are consistent, and they are on point. No bodies have yet been put down, but now the casualties are starting to rein in. The body count is maximizing for fnatic, although Glaive is going to alleviate some of the pressure and goes in for another one. Deep didn't see it from his perspective, but Dupree's now going to get one of his own, and Glaive can maybe close this one out, but he's only on 3 HP, and Brolan will make sure that fnatic are successful again, but at the cost of 4 lives.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some sweat drops rolling down his forehead in that situation, kind of just realizing that that one almost got away from them. That's the kind of the freebie round that you want to have, right? You did the long, hard work in the previous round, winning on the eco. That was the one you were supposed to get for free. It forces a lot of rebuying here, and it keeps their economy in check. Now, Astralis obviously can't instantly punish, but long-term, it means Fnatic's bank is going to be a little bit less built up, and it allows them to force Fnatic into a safe earlier on if they're able to get that initial gun round victory. This round, though, it's all to the Glocks. No utility, no armor. This is the fullest of saves. Don't see them too often.
No, especially not on the T side. This is quite a rare occurrence. And if Astralis could get a kill or a bomb plant, it would be a massive victory as far as they're concerned. So they'll be looking to try and pillage the site via catwalk. JW's Org is tailor-made for these kind of angles. If there's a P250, he's probably a dead man. He takes multiple dinks, and actually it's a 1-4 trade, and they will get the post plant. This is exactly what Astralis were hoping for. Anything at this point is a nice cherry on top, and Glaive will lose his head by Crims. The round is falling into place. They know that Dupree, the last man standing, was spotted in middle, but I think Fnatic will be a bit disappointed at this outcome.
Yeah, you never want to concede a bomb plan to a full Glock save like that. Just the way they were positioned, though, it's kind of hard to stop it. I mean, they're basically relying on their game helper player to be the one person actually defending the cat cross, so they had more focus towards long A position. And so when you have 5 Glocks swing out, even though they are Glocks, it still could be like a death by a dozen paper cuts type scenario to at least get space to get that bomb planted for cat. So Astralis kind of game plan that perfectly to get a chance to plant despite being a full Glock save. And with no one playing aggressive on the catwalk, it was what they needed to get that bomb slipped in. Now they'll have the full buy coming into this. Plenty of utility, opt for device, AKs across the board for the rest. This is the first real test now for Fnatic.
100%. This is the main course. The appetizer was tantalizing, but now we need to get into the succulent meal that Astralis have in store. They've been brewing this for a few rounds now, and already up middle. Double smokes on to wrap around. This puts so much pressure on JW. He at least gets one, but that really won't be good enough. And Zipex, who's been waiting and anticipating this fast rotation, gets 2, and Dupree goes back out for the peak. Brolan is doing his best to hold on to the remnants of this round, and they realize peeking him at this point is definitely a foolish endeavor. Just get the bomb down and change the dynamic of this round on its head. Force Brolan to play aggressively, and he's had an exquisite start so far. He's 8-1.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a kit, he's got some utility, and he's been playing really well, as you said, so maybe going for it, not a bad idea. The problem is the economy is so low to buy a round. If this doesn't work out, that it's kind of still tough, but he's going to see what he can do. Great angle here on the mage, just great headshot as well. It could happen now.
3K to Brolan, but time itself is beginning to tick away. An enemy device yet to get a kill, yet to get off the mark, but they not need to. Even with the kill, Brolan does not have enough time. He may not live to tell the tale. He was really very close, but does manage to hold on to the orb. It's an excellent try from Brolan, but it won't stop Astralis getting across the finish line.
Yeah, Astralis is showing you that they have the full range of tactics under their belts. Again, they're known as the team that kind of mastered the default, mastered the slower, methodical style of play with the set rolls and, you know, the set pieces to kind of open up the round, take map control, slowly approach their opponents, but they can also flip the switch and play that sort of style. They have players like Glaive, like Dupree, who are, you know, no strangers to being fearless and looking to just get out there and trade out. And that's what they were able to do with that quick mid-B crunch. Gets them a second round on the board, but now both economies are very fragile, Vince. The long term of this half is still not decided. This is a very big round, almost a 2-for-1 deal up for grabs here. Looks like B is again the intended target.
Bit of deja vu as well from how Train started. It was very scrappy and close. Rough shape. Jaquinho Does do enough damage to allow the team kill to take fruition, weakening up Dust2 and finish off by Glaive. Brolan out the back of the site with 11 kills to his name. He's trying to rip through more and gets more. May not realize there's a player that's encircling him to his right-hand side, and Device is trying his damnedest to wrap all the way around from CT side. They were not anticipating this hold to be so powerful, and Brolan with a 3k to his name still has 81 HP. And could even get the 4K. Device has already given his position away. And is still moving up close. He's definitely cooled off from that trained performance. It was unreasonable to expect that he'd come out and drop another 40, though. But with 45 seconds, he has no control over the bomb. And this is looking like it is a bridge too far.
Yeah, I mean, he was set up to be kind of the long con in this round, right? To kind of be the insurance policy to come in and collect and clean up. But his team did not get that initial take they needed for him to be able to set that in properly. So now it's just about saving this AK-47. Really solid hold there for fnatic, particularly Brolan. Another multi-kill round for him. He's already up to 13 in 5 rounds played. He saw the performance that Device had on training. Maybe he's trying to do his bit of an impression here on Dust2. Obviously still early days, but I mean, he is on pace to have a monstrous game if he keeps this up. That is a ridiculous, like, even more than 2 KPR now.
Yeah, he's accelerating incredibly quickly. He's on track to match Device's performance from last game, albeit under different circumstances. But the fact that he survived effectively watching B alone is outrageous.
Yeah, obviously the team kill certainly helped out. And he had a little bit of assistance, but it really did come down to him just using the AUG to perfection, playing those longer range duels from the back of the B site. Comes up huge. Now we are going to see the repercussions for Astralis coming into this with just a couple of Tech 9s and a Deagle to support that saved rifle. Galil for Debris. Looking to go for some quick long A control, and they get it. Golden forced to concede. He puts some smokes down the block out of vision. And Krim's getting aggressive, able to find cat control.
Well, the 1 AK they had has been dropped but now retrieved. Now only 4 players remain over on Astralis in a force buy. They know that fnatic's economy is still hanging by a thread. They know if they can strike gold and hit that vein, there is every chance to catapult themselves back into this map. But Fnatic, they're scrapping for it. After a disappointing train, they've bounced back with authority. Golden may be in the thick of it once this smoke clears. And instead, he will be choked out by Magisk's AK, and he spins in for 2. Beautiful, brisk entry frags.
Indeed, smoke for the cross as well. So it's going to really put that pressure on A side. It's going to draw a lot of rotations here over through CT spawn. There's a smoke for the cross, but there's a pretty wide gap right there that Astralis must navigate, but it certainly helps that Magisk still has cat position to kind of help shoot in behind anyone who comes up the slope. Putting JW and Jaquinho in a very tough 2-on-4 now, and they may just have to save Vince, honestly.
Yeah, they have to. Their economy does not support losing this AUG and AWP. I am so surprised they're even going to long in the first place. They're actually potentially going for this, and that is the punishment. They've lost one of the 2 weapons, and JW desperately needs to cling on to what remains of his life to save this AWP, because losing this would be a massive body blow. Absolutely
the case, and the problem is trying to save it on this other side of the map may not happen. Glaive's already here inside the B tunnels, ready to challenge JW. He's going to even have help maybe from Magisk, who's towards lower tunnels. But JW smartly with the trigger discipline here, slipping in behind Glaive, making sure he never gets discovered, unless Magisk somehow runs into him here at lower tunnel still. No. Good job by JW, holding on to the trigger, making sure he gets out of there with the op.
So with JW's AWP and the fact that Brolan's not really in a great position to save, I wonder if they do force here. I mean, they've got a few players that could definitely save off and get a decent-ish buy.
You could get some upgraded pistols and maybe at least like put JW in an aggressive position with the op, whether it be like a quick cat or let him take a fight at middle. Like do something to give yourself a chance, I suppose. Looks like it is the quick cat option from JW. So he will exercise some really good vision of middle.
Already up close, the round definitely slowing down in pace. Astralis anticipating, knowing that Fnatic's economy is in no great shape, that maybe a middle push would be coming in, and Brolan, he's actually moving up. Glaive is waiting for this. It's so hard to see how Brolan can possibly get any reward from this peak, but actually they kind of bypass one another. He goes up, is speculative, decides better of it, and just falls back.
Yeah, they exchanged some fire, but, you know, Brolin certainly took the brunt of the damage and is forced to fade back here. Aggressive position from Jaquinho on B tunnels means, again, they know exactly where Astralis are. They know that no one's really middle yet. They know that no one's really B yet. But again, Astralis are playing these great, you know, passive holding positions, and so they're not allowing fnatic to really get info away. Look, they're having to commit another player to B tunnels now just to make sure that Astralis aren't doubling back that direction. So their info plays are just not panning out. They're being forced backwards, and now they're also dwindling numbers. So Astralis is doing everything right to make sure that fnatic can't make a round out of this, as now they will start to look to get some control up long A, including the bomb carrier. They've spotted JW on Cat. They've exchanged some blows, both now very fragile.
Fragile and fnatic should be falling. That fragmented defense made the most of. Magisk, big headshot onto Crims. There was a gap in the smoke, but doesn't end up costing them anything, and Magix makes the most of it. Goes back in for another one, leaving JW to try and save his AWP again, this time down to 12 HP, and this time Astralis are unlikely to allow him to let this one come into place. Device takes him, will trade up the scout to the AWP, and an identical turnaround. It was 4-4 on Train, it is 4-4 again here on Dust2.
Yeah, just good discipline there from Astralis again, watching, knowing that fnatic would probably look to be aggressive on a round like that, and now they are able to handle it fine and efficiently, and they have a fully saved fnatic here. It's just USPs. Only thing that could really catch Astralis here, so they ran into some type of trap. But the way that they've been playing, it seems so unlikely. They seem to be very keen on making sure they don't fall prey to some type of gimmick. You do see Zipix challenging long early, gets some damage, but gets the hell out of there, knowing that there could be a chance for a stack.
Best of luck to the USP at that range, Brolan. And Dupree just eviscerates him. He's just done instantly.
Indeed. Again, more of a formality in a round like this if you're in Astralis' side of things. Not a whole lot fnatic can really do or say about it. Their advantages have withered away, and now they will have to work hard in the following rounds. And here's the thing, Vince. In these last 20 games that Astralis have played on Dust2, their CT side's actually been the one that's been favored. They are near a 60% win rate on the CT side in comparison to the T, where they're near 53%. So that's a pretty big leap, actually, in difference on a map that historically has usually been a pretty attacking favorite, or at least a lot of opportunities for the attacking team. It can be very hard to have a high win rate on CT side because sometimes it can be very hard to read where the attack is coming from, right? Like if you're losing control of stairs at Catwalk, mid to B is always a threat. T teams can very easily pivot between A splits and mid B attacks, and so rotating through CT spawn and such can be a real strain. But Astralis is a team that is well coordinated, has great communication, so they're actually able to manage those rotations well, which is why they have one of the best CT side win rates on Dust2 of any team right now.
Kind of concern for me as well here, though, Dust, is like we've been speaking about how good Brolan is, but when you look at the rest of the team, it's pretty absent. He pretty much has everyone covered by himself. Device hiding in the Molotov out in the open. He's going to burn down to 43. Felt like it may be worth to get that opening pick.
Yeah, smart on fnatic to not give it to him either. They were smart. They knew that Device might linger around and try to get the op shot off on his way out. Instead, they play smart, patient. They make sure they get long A control, and they got exactly what they wanted out of that.
Jaquinho, aggression. Peeking through on B apps. Grenade proceeds the push, but still lands the man of Dupree and goes in for more. They walk in one by one, and Jaquinho, he is smurfing over on B site for this round. Device alongside Magisk remain, but JW should have them as soon as they come out of the smoke. Misses the shot that could allow them a little bit of safe passage. He backs away and baits in for Brolan again. JW nearly gets finished off by the Molotov, and in the meanwhile, Magisk moves through as there is actually a wall bang from JW onto Magisk. It was looking a little bit rough for a few moments, but a beautiful 3K from Jaquinho gets fnatic a 5th.
Yeah, really well done here. And Jaquinho finally kind of stretching his wings a bit, man. I feel like we haven't really had a whole lot of praise for him so far in this series. That's a massive round with that secondary op over on the B side of the map, and it kind of puts a stop to Astralis a little bit here in this first half. It maybe gives something for that to build off of. Again, they played a very disciplined round there with that long A control early and then netted a big benefit later on.
Zipek straight out into long. There's so much damage has been done. Shrapnel just destroying the oncoming T. Zipek's down to 4. But a 1-for-1 trade, more grenade damage, and this time it's Dupree that takes the brunt of it. On the receiving end of perfectly placed utility, Zipek somehow survives. Not sure how he pulled that one off. Houdini himself would have been proud of that escape. And Astralis, they actually smoke CT, and B side is completely vacant. They don't know this just yet, but there's no one home for a fnatic.
No, not at all. It's basically a free B site, so whatever momentum Fnatic were hoping to build up the previous round may well and truly be shut down, especially with Glaive cutting off what would be the rotation Fnatic need to try to establish a retake. If they can catch Glaive, though, then maybe there's a chance that they can actually start working forward, and there it is. Roland finds the headshot onto Glaive. The problem is everyone else is so out of position that they can't really capitalize on that. They just have to concede. They have to get this 6th round to Astralis, and we're just going toe-to-toe right now.
Toe-to-toe, but as you said, with that CT side around the corner, Astralis will be certainly happier with how the opening of this map has gone. I have to see if Fnatic are afforded the luxury of staying in their guns. It looks very likely. Astralis aren't too keen on chasing down when 2 players are a bullet away from death, and they will hold on to their 2 AKs and the AWP. AK also for Crims, and of course JW still has his AWP, but we're still yet to see JW really have the impact that we're looking for.
This half is still very much up for grabs, Vance. Very hard to see where this is headed. We've seen some great performances from Brolin. We had Jaquinho have a pop-off round, but again, it was short-lived. The shots were right back to respond, and look at what it's done to Fnatic's economy. Yes, they're able to have the full buy here, but they're in trouble if they take a loss here in round 12. They've already taken a very heavy lick of damage on their key player at middle with that op shot. And now a 2-for-1 exchange gives Astralis long A control and man advantage. Vince, this is looking quite grim for Fnatic.
Yeah, they're just hemorrhaging plays. Device has gone in for 2 on middle as well. And that is their potential retreat line that has been cut short. No safe passage into a save. Astralis in a position where they can feasibly throw away a weapon or 2 without any issues if it's to deal with JW's AWP. So they have reached that critical mass now of not just rounds, but their economy that affords them the luxury and the freedom to do whatever they so choose. JW peeking out onto Catwalk. This makes him a little bit more vulnerable, but it's only the AWP of Device against him. If it was the AK, probably goes down, but a great shot into the head of Device. There is going to be Zipex, though, making moves through on alongside. Deny the bomb plant a little bit longer to allow the players to get into position to try and fend off this AWP. And JW tries to make it even more costly, but he walks in, unbeknownst to him, to the embracing arms of Zipex.
Yeah, just a shutdown performance from Astralis through and through on that round. Just taking that early scrap at long A, coming out on the better end of the exchange. Device teeing off with the op. Brolin just being eliminated early as far as not being able to be a factor with such low HP after taking that op shot early through the doors, and now Astralis are up to 7. Very likely we'll find the 8th here as Fnatic just do not have the money to spend. They have to wait until next round to be able to put another good effort forward. Astralis wasting no time getting up Catwalk here. They're also anticipating aggression at long A, and they have the members ready to take the fight. JW has been spotted. Will be forced back.
Astralis bullying Fnatic around, pushing and prodding them, making them as uncomfortable as possible. And Dupree now moving through the smoke. They're looking for the boost, and Glaive takes off the head of Golden. Dupree just being careful as JW was hiding in the smoke. Oh, he's actually dinked him through the double doors. Device hasn't quite finished off the frag onto Broland, but now the cavalry and the support has arrived. It's Glaive. He's not satiated with his first headshot. He wants more, and he gets it. Astralis 8-5 lead. This is almost identical to how Train started off.
That's a fair point to make, Vince. It does feel like, you know, the early back and forth, the trading of blows, and then ultimately Astralis just taking control of the game. Economy has certainly been a big part of it, but it's also been just the consistent performances out of the entire Astralis lineup. Like, yeah, maybe Device has cooled off a bit, but Dupree and Magus are still performing just as well as they have been before, if not taking a step up. Meanwhile, outside of like one big round from Jaquinho, it really just has been rolling. I mean, we've had a couple of good moments from Crims and company, but it just, there's nothing they've really been able to rely upon. This is a big round, though. They need this, you have to feel, especially considering how strong Astralis' CT side Dust2 has been lately. They need to put up an effort here.
Yeah, the end of the first half, 9-6. I feel like that may not be good enough against this Astralis CT side, but let's find out. Can Fnatic string 2 more together? Again, this has been a consistent threat. This wraparound play onto B site. They've got middle control very easily, but they haven't fully unweeded these two players that are still on the B side, which is Jaquinho and, of course, as ever, Brolan, who's got one already. Dipping off with a 15th frag, but now he has met his demise. Good Molotov placement will afford safe passage for Jaquinho for the time being. They're doing a really good job of holding the line. Another incendiary is now being tossed down with a Molotov, and Jaquinho has to force him to the back of the site and actually gets more kills. They hold on to the site against all the odds. It looked like they were guaranteed to lose that round.
And that's a bold statement, Vince. That's exactly what fnatic needed to linger around in this map and make their presence known. Rather than folding, they're out here challenging. That's the second time Jaquinho has had a massive round holding that B site. Maybe he hasn't, averaged a bunch of frags each and every round, but he's had two really key moments in this half, which has won fnatic two very, needed rounds to stay competitive here on Dust2. So, again, we haven't had a whole lot of praise for him to share throughout this series, but I will give him credit where it's due, and he's had a couple of big rounds there. Again, to keep fnatic afloat in a very close game thus far here in this first half of Dust2. I mean, it feels like Astralis are in control, but fnatic are, they're hanging around. They're winning key rounds here and there to stay in the conversation.
It's always that age-old thing, though, when it comes to CS. When we see a player or a couple of players really performing on the CT side, when they're playing static positions, it's can they emulate that when they're on the T-Hawk? When they have to actually take the initiative. The auto-snipers ringing out through middle, and Brolan is feeling a bit worse for wear. Tanked down to 47, but at least they don't concede any players. But it's that player Brolan, it's Jaquinho. Are they able to rinse and repeat going through into the T side where they actually have to take sites as opposed to sit into positions and play the angles perfectly?
Big round here to determine who will have that control going into the second half. Glaive, his answer so far is it's going to be us. But this aggression on the long A tunnel with Crims could pose to be a problem as the bomb is still down towards T-spawn. Xyp9x the closest member to it. Timing will be everything, but Xyp9x is being so patient. In the meantime, Device is continuing to collect over towards middle and Cat. They have the 5-on-3 now. Crims, again, still not able to make his move. Now he does. He finds his man, but it feels like it's come too late, Vince. Yeah, he gets a kill back, but they're still down in the round. He has to give up the bomb. It's a tough ask.
He does go back out again, but Mage is just playing so passively. There's still 45 seconds left. They had every reason to just hold fire and see if he repeat that, try to wrap around the back of them. He didn't see the bomb in his first frag. That definitely hurt him. JW, though, at the back of the car is going to make it sting onto Mages. That's the bomb that's dropped down as well, but Molotov has been tossed in. Device goes 1 for 1. As here comes Jaquinho, a chance to tie it up, a chance to get real close come the second half. He's missing quite a few bullets, both players similar HP. Fake flash, not doing anything to the young Swede. He holds the line, but Dupree passes the bullet between his eyes. And as we move into the second half, an identical scoreline, Astralis lead 9-6.
Introduce me, I'm the renegade. Ooh, every single night, I crave the taste. It's the adrenaline running through my gate. It gets me high, high, high. Got no time to time for small talk. I tell you the truth, I'm faster you. I'm gonna tell you the truth, not in
And here we go, Vince. We're back onto Dust2. It's going to be the second half. Astralis already a map up in the series and already with a decent lead coming into the defense. Again, the side that they are favored on, considering their win percentages on Dust2 over the last few months. This might be it here for fnatic.
It does feel as if the odds are stacked against them, but we knew that going into the game. They were the heavy underdogs, and yet they still have a chance. This pistol, though, is so vitally important. And as the Swedes make moves through via lower tunnels towards middle, it looks like we will have either a straight up mid hit into B or maybe try and congregate through CT side. It depends on how well Glaive holds the line here. USP by his side, smoke goes into his eyes, has a smoke of his own to extinguish that molly, and also flash himself through. It's also biding enough time for the window player to peek in one too many times, but to pre that first headshot was a thing of beauty, but he can't finish off the rest. Crims and JW, last Swede standing, will be a post plant as JW rushes down the bomb. And Crims taking a fight at range while the rest of the CT start to try and spill around into tunnels. JW, big headshot onto Glaive, maybe going to peek out one more time, and JW need to wind back the clock and find some of that old form to clutch down against Device. It's a battle of the Titans, and there's such an important moment in this game. Device is hemorrhaging health, but still takes him down. And JW, I honestly thought Dust, he might have actually clutched that one out, and yet Astralis pick up the second pistol.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it's a 3-on-2 in favor of Astralis, but we know how difficult retaking B-side can be, especially without utility when it all comes down just to pure fragging and positioning. JW certainly did put forward a great effort there, taking that fight outside B, winning it, getting himself into a one-on-one, even getting the read Device was potentially hopping up in the window, even faded back, just could not land those key shots in the end. Device coming up big. Again, he had a quieter game here on Dust2 to start, but now he's picking back up steam again, which is a bad sign for fnatic, and losing that pistol, that's huge because it puts so much more weight on this force-up. You know, they need to make these Galils work. If it doesn't, they could be in a lot of trouble for the rest of this half when it comes to economics.
Now the pressure is already on, but Brolan tries to take some of that away. Big Galil headshot delivered onto Magisk. Zipex watching the cross with the MP9. Already anticipates he's going to be smoked off twice, but the thing with the run and gun style and an underarm grenade is this could slow and soften these targets so much. Waiting, perfect timing, and he gets the purchase. Not just the HE connects, but he sprays through the smoke and finishes off Jaquinho. Golden down to 1 HP. And they are struggling. Another HE tossed up and over. This could finish off Golden and denies the bomb plant just for a couple more seconds before it finally goes down. Crimson pops back up again. Dangerous game of whack-a-mole and puts the Galil to use on Glaive. 3v3 as Zipex goes in again. It's so chaotic, but it's going the way of Astralis. And Brolan is a million miles away from clutching this round. He needs to purchase more frags. There's one looking for a second and defusing the bomb behind the sanctuary of the box. And with a kit, they will make it work. They stick the landing. Astralis with a successful retake and salt in the wounds to take down Brolan as well.
And that's why Astralis are just so hard to beat. Even when they're down and out, when it comes to maybe like man advantage or overall firepower, they're just so crafty. They know exactly how to get the most out of what they do have. Great use of the HE grenades in the perfect locations and perfect timings to get maximum impacts, and then playing off of it to perfection with that cat flank. The bomb was not planted for long, so Brolan had no chance to really get much done once his teammates went down on the site. And now fnatic are on a half lay-by. Upgraded just trying to sneak their way into B, but they're actually just running into the chainsaw that is Magisk is chopping them up with the M4. 3 already down. And it seems like this round has already been dusted off. Just Golden left with the P250, and he is going to be stamped out. Obviously, we don't expect much in a round like that, but to take them out in that quick of a fashion, still impressive.
Oh, it's the HE. It was just glorious. It absolutely wrecked them. It slowed them down in amongst the Molotov. They're already weakened, and so 3 kills in quick succession. As you said, the chainsaw just cutting down, shredding away fnatic. But it was a throwaway round. Now they've got the AWP. Now they've got SG actually in Brolan's hands. He does like to use the AUG, so it's not a huge surprise. And this is a great opportunity for fnatic to bounce back, but they have got to make this work. They won't get many other opportunities behind this.
Yeah, this is basically almost last chance saloon. Like you said, without this working out, their money is going to be so low for the rest of the map. They'd be scrapping together 4 spies, so trying to do this mid to D challenge is going to be big. There's a crossfire from Xyp9x and Dupree with the smokes are going to block off one side of it. Dupree now stranded, he's been flashed, and this is a great entry from Golden.
Huge entry, and he actually doubles up. Magisk has also fallen down. It seems like Astralis have already pulled the plug. Smoke's down in middle, and they have enough finances behind these 3 saved weapons to just buy up without any issues. But hey, fnatic, they're going to stick around a bit longer.
Yeah, that was a really good take. Again, mid to B is really hard to defend against, especially if that crossfire gets cordoned off by, you know, good usage of smoke grenades and flashbangs. And as you could see, the smoke really stopped Xyp9x from being able to aid Dupree, and Dupree was completely blinded, never really had a chance to pop off any shots. Golden with a double entry. That's about as good as a mid-B split can go from the attacking side's perspective. And so that was a must-win round from fnatic, and they were able to pull the rabbit out of the hat. So that's great. They're going to move up to 7. They retain all of their weapons. They don't have to ride by any guns. They can replenish the utility instead. And they have a situation where Astralis, yeah, they can buy up around these weapons, but an ump is still likely going to be in play unless they decide to toss it aside. And, you know, they're getting a little bit of something going. Big statement round.
The questions have been asked. Now Astralis need to answer back in kind. With those save weapons, though, easy buy coming back up. fnatic have tons of cash and tons of weaponry of their own. So back into the fray we will head. Good spawn for Device to peek up on long doors, and it seems like he will potentially get some action. The flashbang is through, but the jumping Crims mitigates and nullifies that AWP shot. Will not be getting connected on just yet.
Another big round here. A big entry from Brolin onto Xyp9x. fnatic trying to build something here off the back of that previous round. That's a good start. Then round 20. Glaive, though, trying to challenge at middle. Only good for one with the UMP. Device trying to get assertive here on Catwalk. Not going to find his man. Maze just did, but now he's left all alone. He's going to have to be a true magician to pull one out here. And unfortunately for him, it was not his day, as it will be an 8th round for fnatic, building up a nice reserve of cash, money depleted on the Danish side of things, and fnatic are actually starting to mount a little bit of a comeback here, Vince. They have a lot of things going their way when it's considered that Astralis just don't have the money to spend right now, and, you know, at least they're starting to get some form out of some of their key players. Roland in particular continues to show some solid play.
Looking good. Well, we had glimpses of this on train as well. Brolan has just been completely crushed. Pulverized by the early grenades. Down to 8 HP already. Crimslow making fast maneuvers up long. Has a smoke in his eyes. But it does afford Astralis the luxury of pulling back onto A and actually going into Catwalk. Being more centralized. Trying to play together as a cohesive 5-man unit. Especially when you have a lack of weaponry like this. Just a case of trying to bulldoze your way in and swarm a player. See if you can get an AK across, and maybe at that point you can make some magic happen. At range, Golden is taking headshots, but it's only from the USP, so basically he's a pea shooter at that range. And Magisk has also been put down to 6. They've now taken control of the site, and everything should fall into place from here.
Yeah, you would imagine so. There shouldn't really be any more banana peels out there for them to slip on, considering the control that they have and the fact that Astralis are well and truly out of position to do a whole heck of a lot. Not really expected them to do much in a round like this, to be fair. Really the main thing was just making sure fnatic could get out clean, right? You want to keep that reserve cash in place for as long as you can. You want as many full buys as you can get in case Astralis does sneak around through. If you really want to try to pull the comeback all the way, again, getting these types of rounds clean is absolutely required. And it seems like they're up to it here. Astralis trying to throw a couple of haymakers out there here and there to try to get some of these weapons down, but Golden and company have been up to the task so far, fending it off. In fact, it is basically just Golden. 4 kills on the round for him. He's starting to pick up a little bit of steam. Not normally the guy that does the heavy lifting in the fragging department for fnatic, but he is had a couple of pop-off moments here, particularly that double entry on the mid-B attack that kind of got things rolling for fnatic in this half. But now the full buy is back for Astralis. Another big test will now be thrown on the table for fnatic. And this is, and again, another must-win to kind of keep that momentum rolling and get another save out of Astralis.
From 12-6 to 12-9, 3 unanswered rounds now on fnatic. This would be a giant leap back into the map, back into the game. The best of 3, if they could bridge the gap, if they could make it stick. Now, they were flirting with the idea of long control. It does expend a bit of utility across on the CTs. Glaive now has nothing left, as he'll be moving back onto the A site. But fnatic seem more interested over on the B side of the map. I think we're going to see a wraparound potentially, but still plenty of time so they can decide to change their options, so should they feel like maybe B isn't the right call after all.
Yeah, big entry from Crims. Like you said, the options will be left open for them with so much time left. But Glaive, the aggress through the smoke at spawn, that's a big pickup. It gets the advantage back for Astralis. And now Mag just pops off at B as well. They're staying out in front. Vincent Golden so low on health.
Very low on health. Crims may need to do all the heavy lifting for this round. Golden basically sacrificing himself to the CS gods to get this plant down. He will instantly get repelled afterwards. Crims 1 on 3. And Device with the quick wide swing from window dispatches him post-haste. 13-9. That 3-round streak comes to an abrupt end.
Yeah, this time Astralis handled the mid-B attack very well. Glaive able to get out there, actually get the better end of the exchange that broke out in middle. Mage just able to bring down one to the grave with him on his way out in the B side, always making sure Astralis were a man ahead from that point forward. With the T's being split up and both vulnerable in health, there was just no way to play off of each other and find a way to reel that one back in. Astralis just played that to perfection. Double op now going to be in play for defense, and fnatic luckily still have money to spend here, so they're able to serve up their full buy as well. But they're also running out of rounds, Vince.
Yeah, the rounds are starting to slip away now. We're getting towards the business end, the burning embers of Dust2. And fnatic, they had their chances. We spoke about how important and integral these last couple rounds have been. It seems like once Astralis had the double ups in play, they just looked like an entirely different beast. Glaive, once again, as ever, is the CT player. Smoke down in his eyes, Molotov thrown in. Just pushed them away, and pushed them away it has, but he's lost quite a bit of his health in the process.
Yeah, it hasn't been a free fight by any stretch of imagination. It's come at a cost, but we do see Xyp9x is still maintaining control of long A. Astralis still has, you know, good ideas about where the T's are positioned. Xyp9x, though, is stranded. He doesn't have any support, though the pre has some flashes he could throw from the corner. Xyp9x starts to feel a little bit of heat. That's a perfectly timed HE grenade. He's going to absolutely stuff them in the doors.
3 kills for Xyp9x and looking for more. JW's been smacked down to 7 HP. He has to just turn away and run for the hills. There's a monster looming overhead, and it's Astralis picking up a 14th. fnatic don't even have much money to play with in this round. They've got tons on Golden, but Crims is down to 3.4k.
My goodness. It seems like whatever hopes fnatic had at actually making the comeback and trying to keep the third map an option in this series is really starting to just kind of slide into the quicksand. Astralis are just finding the perfect timings on these peaks, and their utility usage should just keep stuffing fnatic. But Brolin, that is a huge entry at long A. It came at a bit of a cost of health, but at least he's got his team of 5-on-4. But the rest are in B tunnels, and Magus is still standing.
Yeah, Magus still here, but a swarm of T's pushing towards him. The flash he turns away from, but he actually inadvertently turns into another flashbang. He was basically screwed whatever happened. There were so many flashes and nades being tossed his way, 4 players rushing onto the site and spilling onto him. So fnatic looking to get a 10th round, and Astralis looking to save. Good to see that fnatic at least do have a little bit of fight left in them yet.
Indeed, 2 big kills. And it's just continuing to go in their favor as they're starting to even stop Astralis from saving over weapons after they've already conceded the round. Which is huge because it's not like Astralis' economy is that built up. So dropping all these weapons is actually going to put them in a spot where trying to buy out this next round might be ill-advised. I mean, there's definitely enough money to do it, but do they really want to with this big of a lead? You know, Glaive and Device would be a little bit strained. Xyp9x could drop out the Device. He does have the money for it. He could still armor up and get dropped at M4. So there are some options out there for Astralis to still put the full purchase, but it's one of those things where if they do go for it here and now and it doesn't work out, they could be in some trouble later on as the rest of the comeback efforts are being made by the Seeds. So they smartly kind of just go for the Deagles and P250 for Glaive and ensure they're going to get a nice full buy in the next round. Meanwhile, though, this gives Fnatic that opportunity to keep chomping at the bit, to keep shrinking that gap on the scoreboard.
I think it especially makes sense because it felt like the course correction moment was when they got the double ops in play for Astralis. Right, though, going in that round particular leaves a couple players bare, and he definitely can't get the double ops.
This is the problem, Vince.
Has got an AK, yeah, and this is becoming a real issue for Fnatic. They've already lost 2 players. Golden's tagged down to 30.
And dupreeh has middle. They have no fallback option. They are bottlenecked into A. They have to commit to this. And again, there's an AK on Glaive. There's Deagles aplenty elsewhere. Golden's low. This is a real big issue.
Zipex with a Deagle on the cross, tries to fall back. There's a gap in the smoke, but it doesn't get punished. He just needs to stay alive. He knows that rotational play is coming in, and dupreeh with the Deagle is putting down damage, death, and decay. Alongside Zipex, Fnatic had a golden opportunity to get back into this matchup, but instead, they have utterly been dispatched.
And scene, Vince. You know, that's what it kind of feels like at this point. Like, this is a wrapped up day at the set here for Astralis. Again, the first seed was the reward waiting at the finish line if Astralis were to win the series to avoid the round of 12 in playoffs, to be in the plan to have a chance at a direct semifinal slot. And it seems like they're well on their way to that very position unless Fnatic can do 5 unanswered rounds to force an overtime. A big ask for a team that has struggled throughout the series.
The amounts of times that Fnatic over the last 2 months have lost games 16-10, 16-9, 16-11. So often this happens. They just start strong, finish weak. Against Astralis, fair enough, but there's going to be a flashbang into middle. This time Glaive isn't playing it. It's Zipex instead. Based off spawns, Glaive had the best spawn for long, and Zipex tries to thread the needle through middle. And he doesn't just do that, he threads the first frag. In doing so, alleviates some of the pressure that's been building up on the B site now. Utilities being tossed in. They have to be wary and cognizant of the fact that Zipex could push through the CT side at any given moment. And this is isolating Golden from the rest of his team, and that's the bomb that's gone down. The bomb's dropped outside of Vito. It goes from bad to worse, and they need entries desperately. Crims is the man for the job. Takes off the head of dupreeh, and now Magic's stuck at the back of the car. Gonna try and maneuver himself into a potential clutch. Down go Fnatic, and Astralis take both maps 16-10.
A dominant performance from Astralis will break it all down and hear from the men.